Disaster. Lost in the mountains, lost in the jungle, or stranded in the middle of the desert. How do you survive, really? Should you light a fire in a cave? You're lost in the mountains and the sun is setting. Shelter from the elements is now a top priority. And like countless intrepid explorers in movies and TV, you stumble upon a cave. You've made sure that it's not occupied like by bears or anything, but it's pretty chilly. Being the seasoned survivalist that you are, of course, you've brought your trusty flint and steel. So, you gather what you think is the driest tinder. Does alcohol really warm you up? Speaking of keeping warm, some of you will be familiar with the phrase "to warm the cockles of your heart," or "a little nip," the idea that a swig of alcohol can help you brave the cold. So, should you reach for the hip flask as night falls and the temperature plummets? While those of you old enough to drink alcohol can surely attest to having experienced that firsthand, unfortunately, we're here to tell you it's a myth, a real double whammy. Not only is it a myth that alcohol can keep you warm, but in some cases, it can even be quite dangerous. The reason you feel warm after consuming an alcoholic drink is that alcohol itself is a vasodilator, meaning it causes your blood vessels to widen. As the blood vessels near the surface of your skin expand, this increased blood flow is perceived as a feeling of warmth by the densely packed sensory receptors located there. However, your core body temperature doesn't actually increase. Instead, the heat energy your metabolism generates from your core, where your vital organs are located, is redistributed to the surface of your skin, where it's released into the environment. This can lead to your body temperature dropping, and eventually, if you're exposed to the cold for a prolonged period of time, can result in potentially fatal hypothermia. Furthermore, the feeling of warmth caused by vasodilation can make you sweat, which will further accelerate the process of heat loss and inhibit shivering, the main purpose of which is to keep you warm. Last but not least, alcohol impairs brain function. Slower reaction times, altered perception, and poor coordination increase the risk of accidents, the last thing you want in our mountainous environment. So, put the hip flask away and try to get some shut-eye. And if you're still not convinced, just imagine trying to build a snowman while intoxicated. Not a pretty sight. Or trying to catch snowflakes on your tongue after a couple of shots. You'll look more like a clown than a wilderness survivor. Having wisely avoided the booze, you've survived the night. But you wake up terribly thirsty. Besides shelter, drinking water is next on the list of essential survival needs. Venturing out again, you find a rather dubious-looking water source near your cave. One that's not only unusually colored, but also gives off a rather unpleasant odor. But water is water, right? Just boil it, and it's safe to drink. Well, the boiling point of water, 212 degrees Fahrenheit, is certainly hot enough to kill most bacteria, viruses, and parasites almost instantly. And the general rule of thumb is to boil it hard for 1 minute. At higher altitudes, the lower air pressure causes water to boil at a lower temperature. In fact, it decreases by about 2 degrees Fahrenheit for every 1,000 feet above sea level. The CDC recommends that at elevations above 6,500 feet, you should boil your water for a little longer. While this extended boiling time won't make the water any hotter, thanks to physics, the time it takes to kill certain pathogens at lower boiling temperatures can be longer. 3 minutes should do the trick. Unfortunately, not all boiled water is safe to drink. If the area you're in was previously used for agricultural or industrial purposes, such as having a farm or a mine nearby, then harmful chemicals and heavy metals may have accumulated in stagnant water sources. Boiling the water will not remove these pollutants. Similarly, toxins from cyanobacteria, commonly known as blue-green algae, are also not neutralized by boiling. Ingesting these toxins can lead to gastroenteritis with symptoms such as nausea, vomiting, diarrhea, fever, and headache, and even affect liver and nervous system function. none of which will be helpful for your wilderness survival. Fortunately, several U.S. government websites offer advice on how to distinguish between harmless algae and harmful algal blooms. We've included some links in the description below. Ultimately, it's probably better to be safe than sorry and boil water if you can't source it from anywhere else but a fast-flowing stream. But remember, boiling water might make it safer to drink, but it won't make it taste any better. I once heard a story about a guy who tried to boil seawater to drink. The result? A cup of salty tea. That's right, boiling seawater just makes it saltier. Don't try it at home, or anywhere for that matter. Let's take our water drinking challenge up a notch and to an even more unforgiving place for survival, the desert. A formidable foe even for the most seasoned survivalists. No shelter from the scorching sun, extremely few points of reference, and, almost by definition, little to no water. So it's understandable why the sight of a plump-looking cactus might lift the spirits of a thirsty and lost traveler. Cacti, like all plants, need water to survive. Surely this spiky, desert-dwelling plant must be a safe source of hydration, right? Unfortunately, it's not that simple. First of all, cacti don't contain a source of free-flowing water. Instead, they have a thick, sponge-like pulp that retains whatever moisture the plant holds. What's more, if you're able to extract a few drops from its tissues, it's likely to do you more harm than good. The water of many cacti is highly acidic and contains toxic alkaloids. There's a reason why the Seri people of the Mexican state of Sonora call the Coahuila beryl cactus the desert killer. Eating its pulp and drinking its sap is said to cause nausea, diarrhea, and even temporary paralysis, all of which are obvious impediments to desert survival. This popular yet dangerous survival myth may have been etched into people's minds by the 1948 classic western Three Godfathers, starring John Wayne. Our only chance of finding water is right inside there, you fool. It ain't the best water, gonna take a while, as the Duke and his buddies are busy chopping down a beryl cactus for its water. Thanks for nothing, JW. In a pinch, you might find water in rock crevices where the temperature difference between day and night can cause water vapor to condense and form puddles. Areas with lush vegetation and animal tracks can also signal the presence of water. However, desert animals are often adapted to withstand long periods without water and often travel long distances to find it. The best advice is to never, ever venture into the desert without sufficient water. And if you still think drinking water from a cactus is a good idea, just remember that cacti have spines, and they're not afraid to remind you, painfully. If you're really desperate for a cactus experience, maybe you could try wearing a cactus costume and dancing in the sun. At least that'll get some laughs. Lush, verdant, and humid. The humidity here is so high that creatures that thrive in damp conditions feel right at home in the tall grasses. Creatures like leeches. Leeches, everyone's favorite slimy bloodsuckers, are found in and around freshwater bodies of water all over the world. And in the humid tropical rainforests of the world, they're particularly common and can grow to quite astonishing sizes. The giant Amazonian leech can reach up to 18 inches in length. It's likely the iconic 1971 photograph of a U.S. soldier in Vietnam using his cigarette to burn the leech off his arm that has many of us under the impression that this is the best way to remove them. What's that for? Burning leeches off? While burning the leech will kill it, it can have unintended and frankly dangerous consequences. Like all animals, including us, the digestive tract of a leech is home to a whole host of bacteria. Burning a leech that's attached to your skin can cause it to regurgitate some of its stomach contents into the very wound it has created on your body. And these microbial invaders can cause infections. What about sprinkling salt on them to make them drop off? Nope, same problem. So how do you remove a leech? According to Anna Phillips, the collection manager and leech expert at the Smithsonian Institution, Leeches use suction cups at each end to attach themselves to a host. All you need to do to remove them is to break that seal. Just slide something flat, your fingernail or a credit card for example, underneath the rim of the suction cup and it will come right off. It's important that you don't pull or rip the leech off, as its suckers or teeth can get stuck in the wound and cause an infection. Otherwise, you can just let the leech do its thing, however unpleasant that may seem. They'll be attached to you for around 30 to 60 minutes, after which they'll drop off on their own. Survival misconceptions, right? If you want to be safe, steer clear of tourist traps and dangerous situations. But if you do plan on venturing out into the wild, take some simple precautions. Go with people who know the way. There is no substitute for first-hand experience. Research your destination. Every location has its own unique challenges. Don't go too far, too fast. Start with shorter hikes, then gradually build up to longer treks. Let someone know where you're going. Whether it's a walk in the woods or an expedition to Everest Base Camp, make sure someone you trust knows where you're going and when you expect to be back. Stay safe, and thanks for watching. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe for more, and check out our other videos right here. See you next time.